Hello and welcome to Sikkim Podcast.
I'm Pema Wangchuk.
I'm Chiring Eden.
And if anyone has noticed, we are now Sikkim Podcast, a name change that Chiring insisted that we go for.
Earlier we were the Sikkim Podcast because I think 3 or 4 years ago when we started this podcast, it started as the Sikkim Podcast. But now since we have come under the Sikkim umbrella, we thought it's best not to confuse our viewers, listeners, and just make it Sikkim Podcast. And that's it. That's the reason. And today we have a lot of local news to discuss, I think. And Mr. Pema, I think you need to remove your glasses because it'll
Glaring
reflect,
too much.
Yeah, glaring too much. So to start with, I think last week, something that made headlines across the state was the violence that happened during a football match in Samdong under Tumindingi constituency, which falls under east or south?
Gangtok.
It's
like the
Gangtok.
constituency is split between Gangtok and Namchi districts. But yeah, Samdong comes under Gangtok district. Yeah.
So, in that, it was the details of what happened was on 11th August 2024. You have the pre-independence celebration, Independence Day
This was the Sunday
celebrations.
before Independence Day. Yeah.
So, everybody knows football is a big thing. So, everywhere you'll have football tournaments in the run-up to the Independence Day celebration. So, there was a football match going on there and suddenly towards the end of the match, violence erupted. And what happened, without going into the details, what happened was in the end, the principal got assaulted.
Yeah.
And principal of the school where the football match was happening got assaulted, Mr. M.L. Koirala, I think his name is.
An award-winning.
Mr. M.L. Koirala, principal of Government Senior Secondary School, Samdong. And then, then all of this, the videos started popping up online, on Facebook, I think mostly. And then it became this huge thing where the people, a group of people from Samdong, a group of villagers, they blamed Mr. Purba Renzing Sherpa. He's known as a social worker, and he's also, I think, associated with Sikkim Krantikari Morcha party. So he was invited, I think, in the football match, and he was playing in the football match.
Yeah,
also.
so it was a veterans match, and he had, from what statements have come out, he had a team that was playing on that day.
He was also playing, it seems. And then so the ruckus happened after a group of youth that had come with Mr. Sherpa. They were asked by the organizing committee to not enter I think it is like the shed kind of place where, the organizers, the principal, the school staff and all was sitting. So they were said, like, so many people, I think it's better you stay in the public gallery, and not come on the ground.
Yeah, so I think it started off with a lot of attrition, I think. So this, what you're talking about, from what I could gather, right, the statements that have come out, what I could gather is what happened at the start of the match.
Yeah.
So these people were sitting on the players' benches, and then the organizers told them, you can't. And that led to some tension. And the actual incident, the violence happened when I think the regulation time ended in a draw. And while the organizers were deciding how to decide, like whether it'll be penalty kicks or extra time or whatever is the process, while they were deciding that is when a bigger altercation broke out. And in today's times of everybody with a smartphone, it is impossible to not to kind of bury these incidents. I can imagine 10 years back, if something like this had happened, it would just have been allegations and counter allegations. But now the incident is there, right? Nearly 60-year-old school principal being assaulted. And everyone is talking so much about the principal's incident, but there were some villagers also who got hurt in the process. And so that happened. And
So in the end, I mean, what happened was then that led to this group of villagers saying that they don't want Mr. Sherpa to come to their village. And then there was another group supporting, I think, Mr. Sherpa, who said that that's not how, it is not him that is to blame. Actually, it was the organizers, the principal, I think the school staff and all who attacked, who started the attack, who started the argument, fight, whatever. So these two groups, they were like online. We could see videos. They were sharing videos. And
press
saying,
conferences also. Some press conferences in Gangtok were also held. So, see, one of the lessons I take from this whole incident is that even when you have video evidence, let's say, even when you have like camera recording, capturing a lot of these things, there can still be so much confusion about what happened. The timelines, chronology cannot be understood very well. Even in this incident, the villagers, their ire was ticked off. Of course, the principal getting attacked got them angry. But what also got them very upset was what they perceived as the police dragging its feet in when it comes to registering the case and making the arrests. So that was their initial demand, right? They were out on the streets. To get some background on this whole episode, it is also important to know that Mr. Purba was a ticket hopeful, right? He has political ambitions clearly, and this being the constituency where he would be staking a claim, also is where SKM has won the elections. So there would be two power centers. Wrong to say two power centers, but there is an elected MLA and there is also this strong leader who sees a future there. So that equation cannot be taken out from this incident, from this entire fiasco, which I think is also what would have got the villagers when they didn't see immediate action. What the villagers would want is for the moment a principal is attacked, the moment the host or a senior citizen is attacked, the police should immediately jump into action. And make the arrest. That probably didn't happen. And that then the suspicions would be that they'll be playing favorites. They don't know this person belongs to a party and things like that.
I just want to give some more background. Mr. Purba had in this election, I think he was a ticket hopeful, but he did not get the ticket from SKM. So then he
announced.
He quit SKM and he joined BJP, from where he got a ticket from Timinlungi constituency. But I think just a day after that, again he quit BJP and went back to SKM. And that is when the BJP ticket for Timinlungi went to Mr. Pasang Sherpa.
Last minute, he had to
file
his nominations.
So that is the history. So this guy, like you said, was a ticket hopeful.
Yeah, there are these things that you can't take away from this incident. And there's one thing you got to understand about football is that's what they say about so rugby is a rough game. Football is a rough crowd. That is how it is, right? Anyone who grew up with sports, watching football matches and things like that would know what do they remember are not the memorable matches, but the memorable fights that the fans had all over. So between organizers and the audience, between fans, and even in the hills, between teams and the organizers is not a rare thing. And that is how it should have been seen. Like something wrong was done. If someone was injured too much, police does its own job. Police's job is not to play the panchayat, right? Someone has come to you with a complaint, take action. Now, what was really unfortunate, I feel, in this whole episode was how the argument somehow digressed into who attacked first. Right? So the organizers and the villagers were that our principal was attacked by this person who had come with bouncers who were obviously there looking for trouble, and they created a situation and they carried it out. Whereas the group that had come in support of Mr. Purva Sherpa, they held a press conference, apart from saying what a great man he is and like all those things, which has nothing to do with this whole episode. They hold this press conference saying that it was the principal. We've got video evidence that the principal attacked first and we retaliated. For one, just because someone has attacked you does not justify your
response,
your violence. And this is where I think if anyone has come out in very poor light in this whole thing, I don't think it's Purva Sherpa or the other camp. I don't think it's the allegations. The one group that has come out in really poor light in this whole thing is the Sikkim police. Because what it tells me is that people don't trust the police to do its job. Hence, if someone attacks me, I will have to get my own justice and fight back and beat those people up. Because if I go to the cops, I know they're not going to do a good job. In any civilized society, you do not take law into your own hands.
Yeah, because I would think, like these sort, although, during my time when I was in school, football, matches used to always turn violent like this. But at that time we didn't have social media. But in this case, like you've said, there was no need for them to come to, release it to the media, come make a video, show it to the world and say, this is, if things like you said, if the police had come and, followed due process, and I don't know why you should, come out in the open and talk about.
No, because, see, that's what I'm saying. You don't trust the police. If I trusted the police to do its job, then the moment, now people will say, oh, like that's too idealistic and that's not how the world works. But when you are trying to be a public leader, a public person, you have to lead by example. So the principal as well as Mr. Purva Sherpa, both are like leaders in their respective fields. It is their job to make sure that people do the right thing. So irrespective of who attacked first, your job is to get yourself away from that situation, file a police complaint and make sure that action is taken against that person. Now, they didn't do that. So they decided, I'll settle it for myself.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, the fights that we would have when we are in school between two groups, they're equally matched. 10 bouncers and 160-year-old and some PGTs, that's not an even battle, right?
Yeah.
If they were like equally strong mastans on both sides, I would say go have it out, right? And then just go home and nurse your bruised egos and wounds. But in this case, it is not the same thing. So I think because it has gone into all these directions, right? One camp saying like how those people who are saying ban Purva Sherpa from coming to our village or our constituency, and the other group saying no, he's the greatest thing that has ever happened to this constituency. These are two extremes which are both wrong demands.
Yeah.
What you should be demanding is police take action. I trust the police, they'll do their job. I don't trust the police, which is why I come out on the street, go on Facebook so that there is this whole public outcry, and then the police will be forced to take action, right?
Yeah.
Just look back. Most of these issues that Sikkim has had, the Namchi student death a few years back, it was because you don't trust the police that you suspect everything that they were doing, right? So I think that is what needs to be addressed in this whole episode. Apart from the fact that it is wrong. It is wrong for a senior, he's not technically a senior citizen, but an elderly person who commands some respect in society, even when they misbehave. Let's say if it was he who was being the aggressor in this whole thing, I don't think is justified for you to unleash violence of the scale that we saw being unleashed. Beyond that, the politics is when you have to prove that I'm the biggest chamcha of either camp, right? It had become so obvious that like the loudest voices on two sides were just trying to earn brownie points.
There was, I think there was towards like it had become a little bit of a communal thing also towards, not to after a few days of what happened, all these videos going back and forth. I think both teams, like it became, someone had pointed out, because I think the group that complained, the group that is with the principal, are mostly of the Baun Kshetri communities. And I think, whereas this side, of course, you have the Sherpas, right? Because it was, my worry was just that I hope it does not, then become
No,
this.
no. I don't think no, that doesn't happen. I don't think that's a fear. I don't think anyone put a communal spin to things except this one press conference in which this person said, don't make it communal by calling it Sherpa, 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 right? I don't think anyone was otherwise making it into a communal issue. I mean, one thing you can't avoid it, that area is that Samdong, you have a dominant presence of Baun Kshetris, right? So that does not make it communal. I think it was just this one person who kind of mentioned it, and I found it even at that time. I said, who has made it communal? It's only now that you are mentioning it that it's giving that spin. But you do that. See, that is what is like the Donald Trump playbook, right? You muddy the water. Like you muddy the water so much that people are now talking about who attacked first, who threw the first chair, who picked up the microphone. It was for self-defense. Like, how does that matter? Like, this has become communal when no one was giving it a communal spin, right? Communal spin probably because the association, the Khas association also condemned it, which I don't think is a communal position. I think it's fine for associations to back their person, but you muddy it so much and they succeeded. Like what is happening now? Like for all the people who are making so much noise in the media and including media persons, where is this case now?
But like, since you brought it up, like when associations, community associations, when they condemn it, I don't know whether that is a good thing. I'm questioning that.
I'm absolutely
because
fine with it.
Then it becomes, it gives it a communal, not communal, but it gives it a different kind of touch, let's say, to the entire thing. So I understand.
Perceptions.
So it is a difficult one, I think, for the associations. If they don't, they'll again be like, why didn't you condemn it? And if they do, then it becomes like, okay, then the Sherpa association will come and say, okay, they'll also condemn it, and they'll, it becomes like, that's how I feel. Yeah, so that is a difficult one, but I would, like, if I was a member of an association like that, I would be like, this is an individual matter. This is a, unless it is like a whole, you get it? I don't know. Think about it before.
Yeah, I mean, it is I think that associations is their job to stand up for the community they represent. I would even go so far as to say it is the job of the association to be communal in its positions, right? I mean, that's their constitution, right? It's their job to stand up for their community and especially the more respected individuals of their community. So, yeah, I think it's fine.
I disagree with you on that.
So you're saying the principals associations
they'll have to be principal association is that's different. That's not like
they're representing a group.
They're representing
it is not a community. It is still a community, right?
But it is not as it is not as problematic, or not problematic, sorry, it is not as how do you say it? It doesn't have that potential to cause as big problems as a community organization, I feel. Okay, because then it can get very ugly.
I think
that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've not really thought much about this, but I remember a few years back there was a case under the Atrocities Against Scheduled Tribes and Scheduled Castes Act, right? A scheduled caste person was really ill-treated because of his caste in Sikkim. And the Scheduled Caste Association took out a very lukewarm, hesitant kind of a protest rally. And I had serious issues with it. I felt kind of upset that the association did not come out with a stronger condemnation. So I think there is that equation as well.
No, what I'm saying is that they have to be more discerning. Let's say when they choose which issue to raise their voice against. For example, if the CM says something derogatory, then the whatever community organization will have to come and say something. You get it? But like someone on the road is saying something, you cannot go.
That is fine. I mean, you cannot be responding to every random person. But in this case, you see, I mean, we don't need it's for the association to answer. But in this particular case, I feel that the association coming forward, I kind of was quite impressed by it, because there was immediately a political tinge to it the moment this incident happened. Not because of the association, but because of the people involved. There was a political kind of, it was not a political act of violence. It was not an act of political violence. No, I'm not saying that. But given the profile of the person involved, if the association had not issued a statement, people would have said that, oh, the association is scared because this person belongs to the ruling party. So because the association still issued a statement, I'm quite impressed with the association.
Impressed with the association, and
but at the same time, because this whole issue has been pulled in so many directions, with so much histrionics, that the case itself, all the people's protests, all the people's defenses on either side are of no use if this case is not closed either way. Either the police have to say that there is no case, or the police have to say that yes, an act of violence was committed, and this is the action, and this is the conviction that we will get. They cannot just do that thande baste mein dal diya thing, right? Because now it'll just go away. For everybody involved, the case cannot be taken away.
But that's what they want, no? They want it to go away, because I was going to say.
So what I mean by closed is either way. We have to have the police has to give a clear statement on, this is what we believe happened, and this is what we are going to the court with. We are going to go to the court against the people who attacked the principal, or are we going to the court saying that the principal was the aggressor? Either way, we need to know. You cannot just ignore it and let it rest, because then all this dramebazi would lead to nothing. And the next time something like this happens, again the people will say, I have to take the law into my own hands, because again, if we wait for the police to take any action, they will not. They will just ignore it, compromise the fame, such a popular undertaking. Adjust. Yeah, so that's my issue with this whole episode. It's unfortunate that violence should happen on any field.
I mean, the big problem for me was that it was a school thing, the school principal was involved, whether he was the attacker, whether he was the victim, it happened in the school ground.
Yeah.
And, I saw the video. You didn't see the video,
You
right?
should respect the venue as well, right?
That's what I'm saying.
If I have got people who I know are, if I have Loven with me, then I have to be careful that I know he's very short-tempered, right? So if given in a particular venue, I have to be mindful of these things. Extract yourself from those situations instead of unleashing these guys.
That is the bigger, like I said, that is the bigger issue for me, because when I watched the video, I heard I think probably students, parents, they were like, "Hamro principal la hirkayo. Hamro principal." So, it is not just so. When you look at it like that, it is it's not Mr. Koirala, whoever. It could have been anyone.
Yeah.
But it's the principal, he being the principal, carrying the post and being in an official function. It is like an official function, right? The tournament. that was, that is a serious thing. Like, you are attacking the position, the official post, right? So that is something that the police should take into consideration, I feel, seriously.
All the best with that.
Wait, like you said, regardless of who attacked first and all that, but the position, if it was the principal who attacked first, then again it becomes really bad, because as a principal he should not do something like that. If it was someone else who attacked him, then as a principal he should not have been attacked.
This is my point. Even if he attacked first, does not justify him being assaulted.
Yeah, of
is
course.
my point.
No, that is
right.
That is true. Yeah.
That is the environment that the police has to ensure.
You are like after the police.
Yeah, I mean, I would be, right? Because they do command authority, right? And when you have that kind of authority, you have to be more responsible and not be behaving like the colonial police force, right? I mean, 77 years as a democracy.
No, it is like, again, I'm just, relating it to what happened in the Kolkata case also, the rape case. It's the same thing, right? It is like they are saying the hospital is like a home for the doctors, and it is like someone came into the house and committed this crime. So similarly, in this case, it is like someone came into the home of the principal or the school and did something like this. So in that way, I see it in that way as well. So.
Yeah, I think we've gone on a lot.
Too much,
so so when we were discussing we will probably be discussing the Calcutta episode in a bit, but it is the culture of patronage. Patronage. It is the culture of patronage that is to blame here, right? Because all of us, the moment we see any situation, our immediate response is, how is that person's how is that person's connection to whichever places of power and offices of power, how is that going to affect things? So in Calcutta also the same thing happened, right? They just didn't trust the state police to do a good job. And the state police did bungle. So then you want CBI. I mean, I can't understand how do people think that CBI is a good force in our country either.
And why, then what is the point of the police force?
So this is why we have in our country such a high incidence of people taking the law into their own hands. I meet with an accident, or there is an accident in my neighborhood. We will get together and we'll beat up the driver. Because I know the police will never get me justice. They will not arrest him and penalize him. So I've got a chance now. Let me extract my justice right away. Right? The same thing happens when people catch thieves. They will parade them. They will beat them up or whatever themselves because police. They'll that's the image the police has created for itself, right?
It is a problem.
So that culture of patronage has to kind of also be addressed.
All right. I think there was a long discussion on the Samdong incident.
Yeah, and they took something like 5 days of Facebook time, right?
I know.
So, itna der to we can talk.
So, we'll now, discuss the landslide that happened in Balutar. Dipudara, and
yes, it was on Tuesday.
20th, morning of 20th August.
Yeah.
That is yesterday, I think. No? Yesterday, last morning.
Tuesday.
Yeah. The landslide destroyed a building, the NHPC building, which was called the Gas Insulated Switchgear Building at Balutar.
GIS.
God knows what that means.
Yeah.
But so that's the building that got destroyed by a landslide, and I don't think there are no casualties.
No.
And
we have not been told of any casualties.
Yeah, we have not been told, but we've seen. I think all of us have seen the video of the landslide. Coming down. So. You had some stuff to say about
Yeah, so one is that the reportage of this episode, I mean, and now because no lives were lost and no one was injured, we can say it was hilariously bad. Everybody from the local Facebook wallahs to national media is reporting it as the power station has been destroyed. Right? That the NHPC stage 5 power station at Dipudara, Balutar has been destroyed is what everybody is reporting. And I think where that comes from, because all of them are piling on, copy pasting this viral video of some eyewitnesses who shot that incident, and someone in the background is saying that oh my god, the power station has been destroyed. And that just stuck to, I think, everybody's minds, and that's how they are reporting it, right? So everybody is saying that the power station is destroyed. The power station is inside the hill, inside the mountain. So the power station has not been destroyed, unfortunately. It is the GIS building, which is also where the electricity is getting carried out and that kind of stuff, whatever technical stuff, right? It's an engineering thing. It's a landslide. I saw today a national news report saying that Tista Stage 5 has been destroyed. So I was almost aapke muh mein ghee shakkar. But that was not the case, right? That was not the case because Tista Stage 5 dam is at Dikchu, which is about 20 kilometers away from this location. This is where the power station was.
Okay.
But Dipudara, what is interesting about this whole thing is that there was no rain. This was a dry landslide, right? So there is no trigger. There is no, like, no one knows why this landslide took place.
Because
right?
It's not been raining heavily.
It's not
for
been
the past few
raining.
days.
It is not a traditional landslide spot. And so the landslide has come down from the road level, right? So you have the Singtam Dikchu road. And when you're moving from Singtam towards Dikchu, about 6 kilometers towards Dikchu is Dipudara. When I was speaking to our friend in Dikchu about what happened here, he reminded me, and that's when we went back to the back issues of our papers. Dipudara has been sinking these weird, unexplained sinkholes on that entire axis from the valley right on till the top of the hill. That entire belt. This is also where the headrace, the tunnel, where the water is diverted from the dam, stage 5. This is where the tunnel comes out and pours the water into the power station underground, right? So this is a big tunnel here. I mean, the tunnel is all over, of course. But Dipudara, for the last 15 years, we've been reporting, I realized, in our previous newspapers as well, people were reporting sudden sinkholes. Like they would wake up in the morning and their rice paddy field is suddenly become a pond. That entire, like, let's say 2 or 3 gullies, it's called, the terraces, have just sunk. And they don't know why. And springs, water springs, in this very narrow belt from the valley until the top of the hill, along the tunnel and the road and everything, springs, water springs were just drying out suddenly. Like there was a spring in my field, tomorrow it's bone dry. There is no water in it. We didn't know what was happening. We knew at that time, people suspected at that time that this was because of the tunnel.
Okay.
And it was obviously because of the tunnel, but we did not have the vocabulary or the science to know what was happening here until what happened in Uttarakhand. I forget the name of that town. What happened there. So what happened, I think, in Dipudara is that the tunneling work hit an aquifer. An aquifer is, like our viewers would know better, is this body of water under the rocks. And that water is somehow also taking a bit of the load. When a tunnel hits it and the water leaks, this is what happened in Uttarakhand, the entire city started crumbling in, remember?
Okay.
The town, not city,
I don't remember.
started crumbling in because of the imbalance created by the aquifer being hit. Now, we didn't know what was happening at Dipudara all these years. After that incident happened, I remember getting on the phone with some friends in Dikchu and saying, now I think we know what was happening at Dipudara. Because this sinking, this sudden sinks, the fields just collapsing, the springs just drying out because the water has been sucked away. So to this day... Joshimath, yes. So read up on Joshimath and you'll know what's happening at Dipudara. My theory, right? We won't know until the experts come in. But that Dipudara, the road also was perpetually sinking. If you remember, there are some patches on when we're going to Dikchu from Singtam, where the road is always undulating. Like it's like almost like you're driving on permafrost or something. That's Dipudara. And what had happened, however, a week back is that fresh cracks had developed on the road. Right?
Yes, there were videos of that.
There were fresh cracks, and no one paid attention because until something happens, who cares? Whereas if they had got even one second year geography student to that location, that person would have told them, okay, I think something is very unstable here. They couldn't have taken the building away, but something could have been done. Maybe the damage could have been averted. Protective works could have been done. So this happened. And stage 5 was only just preparing to carry out its repairs. And now there is even more.
So yeah, I have just Googled and found that gas insulated switch gear is a type of high voltage switch gear in which the major components like circuit breakers and disconnectors are enclosed in a metal housing. The problem I see here now, scary thing is, it is saying it contains a specific dielectric gas called sulfur hexafluoride to provide electrical insulation within a phase and between phases. So,
just because it's a chemical, it's dangerous.
Yes. So what is this sulfur hexafluoride? And I mean, if there was gas in that.
The question to be asked is, what is this NHPC doing that they get caught by natural disasters that they should have always known about?
Yeah.
Like this sink, this crack on the road was happening like right above their heads. And they didn't care to have it addressed. Also, I mean, like about your this whatever greenhouse gas that you're talking about, it was not in operation. Stage 5 has been shut since October.
Okay.
So there is no water in the tunnels. There is no power station work. So whatever this gas does, it does not need to be in use because there is no electricity to phase, so to speak.
Okay.
So what is important again, what would be the lesson that Sikkim could take from this whole episode is understand your geomorphology better.
You are just throwing in
Geography.
What is geomorphology?
No, forget that. Understand your roads and cracks better. So when something cracks, pay attention. Unfortunately, when someone's brain cracks, there is no solution for that. But yeah, like there's this such dereliction is like inexcusable. I remember even in Dipudara, when people were saying that we are affected by the dam project, the NHPC stage 5 project, the district authorities were refusing to recognize them as affected people. They were being given compensation, but I have a deep suspicion that that compensation was being routed through CSR and not as compensation. So here we have the results.
All right, I think we should, enough of geomorphology and hexafluoride and
the hexafluoride was your discovery.
And there is no way to segue into this other topic. I was trying to find a connect, but there is not really, except that I'm having a bad hip pain because I played in a table tennis tournament recently.
Yeah, congrats. I think you just want to boast.
And
you don't want to tell the people that you were a state level player in your younger days.
I know.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah.
So I mean, for our audience, we are recording this on a Wednesday. We normally record on Tuesdays, ideally, to release this on a Wednesday. We're recording it on a Wednesday because, like Chiring just mentioned, she
was busy.
Yeah,
injuring myself.
She signed up. Yeah, if you get injured playing table tennis, imagine what will happen if you played football.
Oh God!
But
I think I should started. I should also start a protest against Mr. Pero Onchuk's ridiculing of table tennis as a sport. he thinks only cricket is sport, which
Cricket
is
is not. Cricket
another
is not.
like, oh please.
Cricket is time pass. Cricket is a game. It's
Yeah.
entertainment. It's not a sport.
So-
Football is a sport. Athletics, basketball.
Chess.
Yeah. Okay. Like yes. So chess and TD, sure, same level of physical exertion. But anyway, so we're recording this on a Wednesday. A lot of pressure on Loven to get it edited in time. But that is because Chering was taking part in a tournament and just didn't have time for boring stuff like recording
Yeah.
podcasts.
So we recently had this state open table inter-school and open men's table tennis tournament organized by the Sikkim Table Tennis Club. And so we thought, why not discuss it in Sikkim Podcast as
Yeah,
well, because sports is something that I feel Sikkim is big on actually, even though football takes up a majority of the attention. I
It
think.
doesn't. I mean, SFA is such a useless organization.
Yeah, but yeah, so it is. I mean, table tennis. Why I wanted to talk about it also because I'm passionate about the game, and I used to play since I was in school, and it was it has gone down in what do you call it? The game has gone down in
Yeah,
Sikkim.
I mean,
Because
Which
I don't
could-
know, for many reasons I think, but when I was playing, I spoke to Mr. Pema about it also. There were, it was like a vibrant TT community, and there were many players, many upcoming players, all of that. But now I see a kind of apathy that has set in when it comes to table tennis, where people, even the students are, they don't get to practice regularly. They just come before the tournaments, a few days or weeks before the tournaments, practice, and then they play the tournament, which was not the case earlier. Earlier, practice used to happen throughout the year, and there would be rigorous training camps before tournaments, 1 month or 2 months before tournaments, but otherwise throughout the year. And there were more tournaments as well. Now you have, like, I think 2 or 3 maximum in a year, but earlier I think there would be more, 4 or 5 tournaments, or they would be sent out also. You would send children out to play nationals and even the Northeast games and all, which they are trying still, but it's not, I think, at the level that it used to be. And so I wanted to discuss it.
yeah.
And also, what I saw from the tournament, 99% of them were out of practice.
Yeah, but that's so. Yes, it's not unique to table tennis. I feel you will see this even in surprisingly in football, for instance, in Sikkim or any other sport, where the priorities appear to be misplaced, right? So there are tournaments and then you practice, whereas like you said, in your times you had the passion for the sport, and even if there was no tournament throughout the year, you would still be playing it every day, right? So there is that. What is exciting about tournaments is, because I visited the venue one day, and the Paljor Stadium is nearby, so I see kids playing there. That is such a pure joy when you see people who love a sport in a competitive environment, just watching other people play, watching their seniors, watching players from outside, and you have these conversations about, oh, I've heard, like, I don't know, the team from Namchi has this deadly smasher this year. Those kind of conversations are, I think, very important to have. That excitement is very important to give to our kids. And that is where the associations and organizations that claim to represent these players and sports need to do a better job of it. What throughout I've found unfortunately missing in Sikkim at an organizational level was a calendar of events. What was the biggest football event that you had? Governor's Gold Cup. Like, Sikkim teams don't get to play in that. You get to watch it as audiences, right? But at a fixed time of the year, having this tournament means a lot. I've never studied this much, but I know that during Panglapsol in Rabangla, the volleyball tournament has become a part of the events there. And I want to one day go there to Rawangla and the nearby areas and see what kind of an effect it has on people who follow the sport.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that volleyball has a big following now because it is a very, Korean, Japanese anime is on volleyball. It's a big thing with them. Anyways, so the point being that I think it has to be the government and I think it has to be the Sports and Youth Affairs Department that just has to sit down one day and say, we are going to have this 2-month-long inter-school sports gala. Right? That doesn't mean that kids leave school and just participate.
Didn't they have something like that?
Once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
And you cannot announce it 2 weeks or 1 week before the event.
There has to be state games.
So the state games have to be fixed that we are going to have it in October. But they cannot have it in October because everyone is going to be busy with Dasai and Diwali. Or you want to have it in November. But then the exams, final exams are too near. You can't have it in the beginning of the academic year because the kids have only just come back to school. You have to just figure out when you want to do it. So Sikkim has to have this annual inter-school sports event at a fixed slot every year so that kids and schools can prepare their teams for that every year. And every school can pick up, it's such an important part of growing up. Every school can pick up their skill, right? I'm sure there'll be hundreds of kids who want to throw javelins.
Yeah.
After what Neeraj Chopra managed, right? But can we?
No, this is what I was going to come to. For example, in table tennis also, now you have at least, I think, a lot of people now in India know of Manika Batra. She's a table tennis player who is doing really well. Before, I only knew of this guy, Sarat Kamal. I think he was this other, I don't know, I think he's quit now. But whatever, some men's player who did really well at the international level. Really well as in for India. Maybe got through the first. I shouldn't say anything. I don't know the details. But yeah, so he was a big name. And then now Manika Batra, everybody, I feel like everybody knows of her. So that is the level that TT has come to in the last 10, 15 years. When I was playing it, nobody knew any TT player in India, right? No one knew except people who are in the game. They'll know of the national level players and all. Otherwise, who cared and who knew? Now people know. So the level is improving. You still you cannot really compete right now with the European and the Chinese players and all, but Manika Batra is trying, has succeeded to a certain extent. On the other hand, I feel like in Sikkim it has gone the other way around. Instead of improving, now it's now you don't really have good players. There was a few years ago, maybe a decade ago, there were some good young players who I had heard of some good young players who got picked up by some, I think, private, petroleum and all of those also was happening. And I was like, oh, great. Now, finally, it's, now it's gone. So I don't really think it's the government. Government can help.
No, as in the event organizer. And this government loves event organizing.
Yeah, that too. But the government can help, but I also feel like the private sector needs to, the private sector needs to come in somehow.
NHPC is
no, not like that.
Its dams are down.
In the West Bengal, of course, West Bengal is a big TT state in
IOC,
the country.
Indian, all these guys. IOC is there.
No.
Highway Authority guys.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant you have, coaching centers. In Siliguri, you'll have a number of coaching centers that are private. They charge money to coach a child or whatever, right? We don't have even one in Sikkim. We are dependent on the government coaches and the government facilities. Whereas I feel like now it's high time that, some private centers come up where they have the facilities. Just 2 tables is also okay. And they take 15, 20 students and get, 1,000 a month or, I don't know this thing, but you pay for it. And then, so because the government is clearly not working, the government setup is not working. In my eyes, it's not working, and it's
not the government's
And
job.
then if you talk about it, they'll have hundreds of excuses. Oh, because of that, because of this, whatever. It will not be a simple solution to
COVID,
it.
flood.
Because for example, in Gangtok district, let's say, you have the Paljor Stadium. It's not just Gangtok, actually, for entire state, you have the Gangtok, the Paljor Stadium, right? Stadium. And you look at the TT, the the venue that has been given for table tennis, it's like, so people actually there, I heard them calling it a nali. It's like, you want to play in the nali. So TT has been given like a nali. It's like a small, narrow,
Yeah.
disgusting,
Yeah.
part of the hall, which is filled with like stuff, like things that no one wants to keep in their court or whatever. And it's dusty and it's dirty and it's not even safe. There are like these iron pillars, which is like, I think when the stadium was being renovated, they did some extension, this and that. And of course, which spot do they want to give the iron pillars to? TT. So you can actually, if you play really, like if you have to now look
Yeah.
at
Dive.
if you have those crazy rallies like in TT, you'll bump into those pillars and hurt yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's sad. It's really sad. So if you talk about this thing, government, they'll say, look at this. Venue ne esto dekho sa, what to do now, So all of
Private, I think,
but-
yeah, I think there's
but it's not-
space for a private.
But it's not
TT.
just the venue will not solve the issue problem. That also I understand. So it has to be, so many things are not right. So
I can't understand. Like TT should be in every school. Like one of the cheapest indoor sport to give to a school.
it's not very cheap, okay?
I meant give them a table. See, just imagine, like in Sikkim, I would say that
But
TT
it's in indoor,
becomes the
yeah.
ideal sport to
Yeah, for-
support in schools. Half the year it's raining.
Yes, that way, yes.
You give them a TT table in the hall, in the assembly hall, and let the kids just play.
Yeah.
But I can't understand why that is not happening.
Because I think even, especially now when the screen time is, a big issue, I felt like, I was so happy. I told you also when I went, I was like, at least there were around 300, I think at least 300 players.
Yeah.
And the young ones, I said, okay, maybe they're not regularly practicing, but at least for these 3 days, they were off screen
Yeah.
the whole day. So TT tournaments will take the whole day, right? It's not like a football match, 90 minutes and it's done. So it's not like a football match that will, finish in an hour, 2 hours and it's done. It'll be the whole day. From morning you'll have matches and you don't know when your match is going to be. So you'll be there at the stadium the whole day till, 5, 6, 7 in the evening also. So, and I saw those kids and they were like happy. They were enjoying themselves. And I was like, I was feeling bad also that they do not get such opportunities more often. And it's just, so that is what sparked this discussion.
You need some interested people as well. Like if football can have a league, private league, challenging SFA, and SFA is so upset about this. You can have badminton guys who came together and have a league every year. A kind of professional, semi-professional setup. Why can't table tennis also have something like that? Yeah, so you'll have to try out these things. Let's hope there are some rich people start playing TT.
I know.
And support what you do. Or some big officers, if not rich people.
Yeah, because there have been such, initiatives where, there are these pockets of just passionate people just trying to, there are...
I can see TT as being like the ideal sport for schools. Because maintaining a ground is expensive. Not everyone can even have a basketball court, volleyball, physicality requirements outdoors are a challenge. Table tennis indoors, it's still like kids get to sweat and compete and hand-eye coordination. Of course we can find all the reasons why it's so great. Yeah.
Now, moving on.
Yeah, because if we continue with this, you'll soon be taking over the badminton and the basketball courts and converting them into table tennis arenas.
So moving on from sports, I think we should talk a little bit about the comments that we have been receiving on YouTube. We have been receiving a few comments. Most of them are nice to us, and some of them, one or two of them are not. But we'll be talking only about the good comments because we just have them here. So I think it's better we don't talk about, we don't give the names of the
we could, because these are public
people.
comments, right?
Because not all of them are, clear here.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Better not to. So we have one comment which says, this certainly has to be one of the most intriguing talk shows in Sikkim. Amidst all the daily reporting of the incidents in and around Sikkim, at last we have something to cling on to.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, that
Thank you,
doesn't surprise
Mr. User VJ7JC6 for this comment. It's really motivating when we get such comments.
Yes. I mean, I would also kind of put this out that comments are, I mean, we all have this narcissistic streak, right? We like it when people are listening to you and respond with a comment. And truly, not all nice comments.
Yeah.
Yes. I have not completely understood that one too well, but someone has called me an India hater.
Yeah.
I don't think I am that. I think I'm a patriot.
No comments.
No, I am. I am a patriot. I'm not a bhakt. So that I draw a difference there, right? I want my country to be better every day. And when it fails itself, it is deeply upsetting because I don't have any other country to call home.
All right. So
I'm not an India hater, right?
Let's get back to the comments, please.
Yes, please. There was a query.
There was one comment which is long, so that I think he's put in so much effort to write it. We should read it out. As I was reflecting on how the culture of intellectual debate and discourse in Sikkim has gradually faded, leaving people less engaged and intellectually stagnant, however, this timely podcast challenged my assumption. It made me realize that there are still people like them who think critically about the issues concerning us today. Their efforts deserve recognition and appreciation. Also, I have been searching for a podcast like this in Sikkim that is something to escape from the constant gossip mongering. And here I get it. And trust me, I couldn't agree more with.
Yeah. But no promises there. We are very fast on track to doing more gossip.
Okay, I think our
conspiracy
theories. Intern has not put in the entire comment here.
Yes.
And I think there was some mention of some Habermasian concept, which I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, which we could not possibly be pulling off if you don't know what it is. Yeah, that's again what the intern had told me when he was a child once. So there is that. But no, please keep the comments coming. There was also a very long comment which engaged with us on the Bangladesh issue. And
it was too long.
And please go online and read it. In which the viewer has made an argument of how America is involved and things like that. So I might not be completely convinced about it myself, but it's still an interesting supposition, I would say.
Yeah, and
the challenge would be to, I think, have all the comments jumping on our sides on the frame. Let's see if Loven can pull that off.
Yeah.
Have the screenshots of all the comments.
Yeah, more. There are many comments, but I think we'll have to close.
No, let's have some more. I've not read the comments.
So there's one on the ground report video
on the Jhora,
Sikkim ground report on the Jhoras of Sikkim, where Mr. Pema and Mr. Upendra, architect planner Upendra Gurung has, they have talked about it. And there's a comment saying the video states it was shot in 2021. Have there been any changes or updates to the plans in 2024? And to this, Mr. Upendra has responded on our channel, on the YouTube thing. You can go there. He's responded that a part of it has been, used by the government in its planning as something.
Yeah, so it's kind of included in their projections. I don't think it's on ground.
Okay.
I'll be really surprised if the government does anything good on ground.
Something like that he has.
Or the urban planners, which is like a oxymoron.
And there was also, there's another one, there should be an association for voters with no COI holders, which can voice the problems and injustice that a non-COI holder is facing in Sikkim.
Yeah.
This is to the...
I think the discussion we had on the press club thing about how only locals can be office bearers and things like that. And
yeah,
I think you had completely gone off the rails saying non-locals are the people who bring in quality and brains to Sikkim.
Mr. Luval 293, sorry, I take back my words.
Thanks for that, but
I think it's not Luval, it is Love All. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for watching Sikkim Podcast.
Sikkim Podcast. There were other topics that we were, for instance, you would notice that we don't have the national and international section today, which is as much because of lack of preparation on our part as, although we have a lot to say about the Calcutta episode,
Incident.
maybe we'll do a separate recording for that. But our equipment today is kind of giving
trouble.
up. And before everything starts exploding or crashing,
we will close.
Thanks a lot for this.
Yeah, we will close today's podcast. Like, share, and subscribe to Sikkim Podcast.
Press the bell icon.
Okay, thank you.